A lot of our customers, let's say, are like I said, start at $1 million, $2 million at the most.
Right.
Very few falling much above that. But most of them have not ever had an advisor, never had an advisory board or anything formal. So I guess it would be interesting to hear your perspective on where do they get started at this stage. It's kind of, first there's the education that they may need one or there may be a benefit of having one.
Right.
But they decide, let's go for it. Do you start with one? Do you what would you say is the best way to get started?
I mean, I don't know that there's a tried and true answer. Every situation be a little different. But if you can get a couple of folks to start with that you both you have some decent chemistry with and you respect. And of course, a third thing was if they have some industry expertise in the area that you're involved in, that's a plus, because then you don't have to they don't have to really learn your business to make detailed kinds of advice. They've already got some background in that. But I mean, it starts out with it's chemistry and respect to begin with, and if you get that, because let me tell you, the entrepreneurs, it's a lonely existence, especially if you're either the sole owner or you're out on a point you don't have any partners. Okay, you might have employees, and they may tell you what you want to hear. An advisory board's going to tell you what you need to know. Okay,
right.
And that's really, really critical. And it could be something as simple as breakfast, once a month, or a conference call, or a dinner, or it can start out very, very informally. Okay, and the more formal you make it, the more opportunity you have to get good results out of it.
Right. Treat it as such. Gotcha.
Yeah, absolutely.
And now let's go back to the other side of the equation now for others that are looking to now advise small business, because it's, you mentioned Fortune 500 executives and maybe they have an interest in a boardroom career or something like that and they want to get started. Whether or not they've had the secretary and company car, I don't know, but there's certainly plenty of interest from all sorts of the executive level that want to advise small business, also entrepreneurs. But what advice would you give them in terms of both finding those businesses and what sort of training, or how can they prepare themselves properly for such a role?
Well, I mean, see, the only hard thing about that is, it's not like if you haven't been there you can't advise. No, that isn't the case. But I mean, let's say that a guy comes out of a Fortune 500 company, and his strength was brand management. And he was a marketing guy, forever. Take that expertise and work that. That's what you want to be advising the entrepreneur about. Biggest problem with sometimes guys who come from, well, not even big companies, I mean, is people try to do advice, again, it becomes the Uncle Harry thing again. Stick to your expertise, and that's what you sell them on. I got 30 years of marketing, young man. I think I can help you with the marketing problem that you have right now. And it doesn't matter whether he came from Procter & Gamble's or he came from a $5 million company. All right, if he's got 30 years of that kind of thing, he's going to bring something to the party without question. A financial guy who had been a CFO of a public company. Also, financial guys, again, their expertise is probably the easiest adaptable, because numbers are numbers are numbers. The only difficulty that big company guys have is trying to take a big company approach to a little company, because a little company always have to think about them as guerrilla fighters. All right,
Sure.
they're not going back into the war room and having a 3-day planning session and like, no, they might have a 3-hour planning session and that might last them for the year.
Right.
That's the only difficulty. But once they begin to understand that, one of the areas I would suggest strongly that folks who want to be advisors, do as a kind of boot camp, is go to your local SCORE chapter and sit in on listening to various presentations and the like, because they're trying to get SBA loans and the like. You might get to see 500 of those in a month. There's nothing more, because then you begin to hear the lament and the problems that the small business guy has, but you also get to see an array of businesses.
Sure. In your opinion, out of those 500, how many are good ideas? How many are?
Well, I always like to tell companies I advise, there are 1 million great business plans.
Yeah.
About 1,000 good implementations.
Right.
So
that's the difference.
That's the difference. I mean, I've seen so many great 200-page business plans with the colors and the this and that. How are you going to make this one work? The good implementation is really what you want.
Makes sense.
That's another thing that what you want from an advisory board is practicality. You want practical solutions. Something that fits the resources and the objectives of the business owners.